Hi, good afternoon. I'm back again. So, yeah, very excited and a bit nervous to be here. Quite frankly, I was expecting that there'll be a rostrum so I can hide behind it. So I'm here to talk to you about this title, War for Talent, how are you winning it? To be honest, I didn't come up with this title. I was invited by SAP to speak on talent, attraction, and employee experience. So, but when they presented me with the brief, it came with this title, and I thought it's pretty sexy, right? Attention grabbing. So hopefully you'll get more people to come and hear my sharing. So I'll just begin by sharing, I think, how do you do employer branding? I think starting with the employee value proposition, how to be a good employer. Why do I do it in this order? I think if you do a search right online about employer branding, very often I think the first thing that comes up is all the employer branding strategy, how do you advertise yourself, how do you sell yourself. But I feel that that's actually putting the cart before the horse. The first step of talent attraction is really to make sure that you're a good employer to begin with, right? So that people want to join you, that you're actually a fairly decent workplace to begin with. And then after that, you can go on to selling. So I'll do it like that to start off with how do you build up your employee value proposition, how are you different from your competitors, and mostly to share Bread Talk Group and our journey and how we do it. Finally, I'll end off with how the whole HR function supports this talent attraction and branding approach. Okay, just a few slides, bear with me, a few slides about Bread Talk Group for those who are not familiar. So we are founded in 2000, so if we are a person, we would be a millennial as well. So in 2000, so currently we have a couple of brands, about 7,000 employees, 1,000 outlets globally, primarily in the ASEAN region as well as in China. Last year, we opened our first outlet, Din Tai Fung outlet in UK. So these are our brand portfolios. I think although we are called the Bread Talk Group, we are not just about Bread Talk. We do have a few other businesses. So Food Republic is under us as well. Food Opera, Din Tai Fung in Singapore, in Bangkok, we run it. And we have a couple of new brands. We call it Fourth Division for the simple reason that it's the fourth division, the fourth one. Right, so we have a couple of brands there. Songfa is the new one I mentioned just now, newly opened at Central World. So do check it out. This is just another slide, just to give you a profile of this our country operations. So reason why I'm sharing all this with you is to maybe just to set some context. And also I think one is to assure you all that I'm from a legit company, and whatever I'm sharing with you, I didn't make it all up, right? We actually did do it. The second is this thing about context. So we are in the food and beverage industry. So I think respectively, all of you might be from very different industries, etc. So what I'll be talking on, perhaps you may need to do some adjustment or adaptation to your own context. My workforce would also be a bit different from yours. So because we are in the F&B service industry, actually a lot of my workers would be the blue collar, rank and file kind of workers. So again, whatever strategies or approaches that I adopt may not exactly be relevant. I wouldn't say relevant, but I would say may not be directly applicable. So some adjustment may be needed, okay? So I'll start with this. You might be familiar with this pyramid. It's the Maslow hierarchy. So about 80 years ago, this dude had this very good idea about figuring out what motivates people, right? So he came out with this hierarchy, starting with what are the basic things. You need food, water, warmth, and his idea is that you have to complete one layer before you can move on to the next. So you have to have all your food, water, shelter, warmth before you can start to think about security, safety, etc. And then when you have all that settled, then you go and look for a wife and have kids. And after that, then you look at self-esteem and all those things. So I think 80 years from now, we know that this thing is largely still applicable, but we also know that it's not as simple as that. As in, people don't just complete one tier before they move on to the next. For example, millennial, younger generation, they look at the self-actualization part quite a bit. They need that purpose, that vision, etc. to drive them. So, but I'll be using this as a model that we use in Red Talk Group, how we prioritize, for example, our programs, how we design our programs, how we prioritize our programs. I also found this on the internet, which is that I think in this day and age, there's a new layer, which is Wi-Fi. So without Wi-Fi, you don't need to talk about it. So back to Dr. Louis' point, right? Nowadays, if we don't have Wi-Fi, we are as good as dead. So it's quite unbearable. So I just added that in for completeness. Okay, so how does it look like for the HR context? So very, very simply, I broke it down into 4 tiers. The same Maslow hierarchy. At the very basic level is salary and benefits. I do believe that we all work for a living, right? I think we all work for money. So that forms the very basic. I think, of course, there are some who are fortunate enough to be working for something else other than money, for passion, etc. But salary and benefits, that's the most basic of it. And then if we move up further, everybody, I think, in their own job, they are looking for career, some form of development. They want to grow. They want to get better at what they are doing. At a higher level, they hope to be engaged, right? They don't just want to come to work. They hope that they are part of a bigger family, a part of a bigger organization. And they also want their well-being to be looked after. So that's why you have all these things about work-life balance, etc. And of course, at the very, very top, they want to work for a company with meaning, right? Not just a company that's out to make profits. It could be that they want to work for a company that's out for profits. But I think a lot of people, if you ask them, they will hope that their work is much more than that. Okay? So I'll just start at the most bottom tier, salary and benefits. I won't go into details. This is a specialist topic on its own. I'm also not the expertise here. I'm not the expert here. So you talk about salary and benefits, there are a lot of different things that you can talk about. Of course, the most basic one are the base salary, and then you move on to fixed allowances, cash compensation, etc. So when you're looking at salary and benefits, right, I think only few things that I would like to highlight is that, which is why benchmarking is important. How do you compare? Salary is something that's very relative. So I think they have done studies to show that if given a choice, would people want to receive all low salaries, but all low salaries, or would they prefer to get slightly higher, but their neighbors get more? Most people actually opt for option 1, which is that everybody just be equally miserable. So it is a lot about comparative market, about how you compare what you're paying. Are you paying the right wage for the right kind of job? I think a lot of mistake, or when I first joined, I think the mistake that we often go into is to just look very narrowly when you do benchmarking into your immediate competitors. So in my business, perhaps what I'll be looking at are the food and beverage businesses and even some retail. But I think what is more important is to look at when you're losing your people, where are they actually going, right? And where are your people coming from? So for example, the employees that work in Red Talk Group, they might not necessarily be working only in the F&B industry. They could be working in hotels. They could be working in manufacturing. And how does my pay and compensation compare against those people? Even in Singapore, we found that some of our staff actually left to become Grab drivers because they are earning more from there. And then you have to find out exactly how much a Grab driver can earn with the same amount of hours put in, right? And to make sure that you live up to it. The other things are, I just put there for illustration. I'm sure all of you are familiar with this. It's really to look at how you can be a bit more creative, right? So for food and beverage industry, my margins are pretty tight. I don't have a lot to play with, but sometimes you just have to be a bit more creative about how you want to use your whatever resources is given to you. So again, perhaps this example might not be so relevant to Bangkok or Thailand, but in Singapore, we have this thing called the 13-month bonus, whereby it's a fixed bonus. So if you work for 1 year, right, at the end of the year, a lot of companies, they'll just give you an additional 1 month bonus. And that's fixed. It's not tied to any performance, etc. And because it's given by a lot of companies, employees, they come to expect it, right? So what we did, I think many years back, was that we felt that it wasn't a very good use of company resources as well as money. So instead of that 1 month bonus, we decided that maybe we will give everybody an 8% salary bump. So you take that 1 month divided by 12 months, that's 8% more, right? So yes, when come to the December, when everybody else is getting their 13 month and you are not getting, they might feel miserable for December, but at least their pretty happy compared to their peers for the 11 months of the year. And that's how we rationalize it and we sell it. So I think some creativity is required, and to really look perhaps into the various components as to how you structure your compensation package, how it relates to even things like incentives tied to targets. Okay? So next, still on the same topic, benefits. I split that into a few things. There are the core benefits and there are also the more advanced ones. So the core benefits, I'm not going to talk a lot because as you know, there are some that are core and mandatory by law. Annual leave, you have to give how much. Sick leave, you definitely have to give. Maybe medical, etc. You have to. There are some that may not be legal requirements, right? But they are prevalent. They are like the 13 month that I spoke about. There could be some practices that are very common and if you don't give, then you are losing out as well. But what I perhaps want to spend more attention on is this is what I call the differentiator. So what are the benefits that you can give, right, that nobody else can offer? This is just a snapshot of the kind of benefits that BreadTalk Group will offer. So it's like a credit card program. Everybody sign up for the credit card. They might not use all these programs, but some segments of the employees, they might find it more useful than others. There are also things like flexi hours, travel discounts, fitness classes. You try to cater as much as possible to every different employee segment. Okay. But what is more important is what your company believes in and what sets you apart from other employers. So in Singapore, what we have is that one of our core values is giving back. CSR is very important. We truly believe that as a company, we have to be responsible. So what we do is that we give paid volunteer leave. So if people want to volunteer, especially the youngsters nowadays, they want to contribute to a charity of their choice, we give them leave for them to do so. The other one that I thought was a bit more unique was what we did for Din Tai Fung in Singapore. So as you know, in food and beverage, there are a lot of long hours, right? So we ask them, like our staff, what exactly do they want? And we have the recurring feedback. In food industry, the peak tends to be in the lunchtime and as well as the dinner hours, right? And in between, there's a lull period. So we run something called the split shift where during the afternoon time, they have a long break. And a lot of them find that they don't have place to go to properly rest during this period. So this is why in Singapore, we actually rented a room in the Orchard Belt where we have a few outlets. And then we let them, we set it up with proper beds, resting areas, so that during those hours that they are on their breaks, they can actually go to this orchard place and they can have a drink, they can have their meals, they can rest, they can take a nap, etc. The other thing we piloted was this 5-day work week. So we work very long hours. Naturally, they work 6 days every week, and they only get 1 rest day. But when we asked them, they wanted more. So we saw there's an opportunity. Why not we convert to a 5-workday week? That means they get 2 rest days a week, but each workday becomes longer, right? Maybe instead of 8 hours, they work 10 hours, but you get 1 extra rest day. So that's something that we pushed out, and I think we are getting quite good feedback, and that's what sets us apart from the other F&B players. So think about, I think in your case, right, in your own company, what can you do? What is it that your employees want? It might not even be something that costs you a lot of money, right? But this is the thing that's going to set you apart. Okay, if you look at career and development, again, what is it about your company that is different from other companies? How do you invest or show that you invest in the development or the career of the different employees? So again, for BreadTalk Group, I think as an F&B player, what sets us apart are a few things, right? I'm different from a Starbucks and a McDonald's in that I'm not just a one-brand company. I have a lot of brands, so I don't just sell bread. I'm a food court. I also run a restaurant. The other thing that I'm different from maybe some restaurants in Singapore or Thailand is that I also have operations in many different countries, right? So I offer that as a development, a career option for whoever joins me. So these are just for illustration. People can come in, join the bakery business, they can join restaurant, they can advance through the food atrium track. They can also do a cross motion if that's what they are looking for somewhere down the road. And that's how I differentiate myself from other F&B players. And likewise, I think in your line of work, think about how you are different, how you are same, how you go sell your company. In Thailand, for example, we offer the very good performers the opportunity to have that opportunity to work in Singapore. I think that's a motivator because it's really hard for a foreigner to get a permit to work in Singapore. And we are quite willing to do that investment because we are getting talent from globally. So in your own area of work, likewise, think about like what are the things that you can offer in terms of career development that's going to set you apart, that's really going to be different from what your other competitors are doing. Just another illustration, again, trying to cater to as many different groups as possible. So we have for new staff, for high potential staff, mid-management, leadership, education and training. And we also have a university. So I think you can call your training and academy, etc., whatever you want. We call it a university for the simple reason that we have the aspiration that you ought not just be focusing on technical training. We conducted an engagement survey years ago. Actually, one of the things that came out was that the HQ people or even the mid-management and above, they are not getting training. They don't see that they are moving or they are improving themselves. So which is why we came out with a university structure. And what we have traditionally been very good at were in the areas of the operations excellence. So in the F&B industry, I think technical training, etc., we are very strong. But what we have done is that we also strengthened the other parts, corporate training and leadership management. And what we have done in this area, we also recognize that we don't have in-house capability in some of these areas, right? Can't be that you know everything, things like leadership, etc. So what we have done is that we are partnering with universities to come and conduct courses for our employees so that there's some legitimacy as well. They're getting a certificate from a university, a diploma, etc. Right? We also subscribe to online learning. MOOC is a big thing now, like Coursera, so that they have an additional option to improve themselves. And then own time, own target, again, going back to the digital part, get them accustomed to doing e-learning, online learning to improve. So, okay, I'm just moving up the pyramid. Engagement, well-being. I think the very first part is to do this thing called an organizational climate survey. So doing a pitch for Cynthia again, I think the Qualtrics solution is going to be very helpful when it's rolled out. I think it allows you to understand what employees really want. And I cannot emphasize this more. I think sometimes we as HR or their management, they think that employees want certain things, but actually it might not always be true. A lot of times, what they want could be very different and might not be very expensive. So conducting engagement surveys, having employee intranet, with technology now, it's really no excuse not to do regular communication. I think for ourselves, we have 7,000 employees. How do we keep that up to date with what's happening in the company, right? So we have an intranet for that purpose. Many happy pictures of people having fun. But I think what we wanted to say is that we have town hall whereby the management cascade what are the vision of the company and what are the strategic plans so that everybody is in the know and we are all aligned going ahead. More fun stuff and more fun stuff. Okay, I won't spend a lot of time on this. I think this part actually is pretty important. So last year, for Bread Talk Group, we had a management retreat whereby we sat down and reviewed all our vision, mission, and core values. And this is what we came up with. Why do I say this thing is very important? Because I think the vision and the mission actually sets the direction of what the company wants to be, and it conveys a certain direction. So for a company like Bread Talk Group, we deliberately chose the words very carefully, and we end up with inspiring, innovative F&B concepts and delighting the world every day. We didn't want to just be a company that sells food and sells food products, right? We wanted to be a company that's at the forefront of selling innovative products, innovating concepts. And I think the second part is perhaps more important, which is delighting the world every day. So if I sell you a product, it should make you happy. I shouldn't sell you a product that's overpriced, doesn't make you delighted, etc. And that's what drives our business. And yeah, so I think the difficulty is how do you translate that vision to everybody, the work of everybody, right? Everybody comes to work. In my case, we have to tell them that what you are doing is not more than just making a cup of coffee or making a bread or selling a bread every day or just doing cashiering duties every day. you do make that impact to the lives of all the customers, right? So actually we made a customer appreciation video as part of our annual D&D, and I thought I'd just show it to you, just to give you a sense. I think these are very simple things, but to the employees on the ground, sometimes it goes a very long way to see how their very simple actions, how their day-to-day work, they actually do more than just selling a simple bun, making a simple bun, or selling a coffee. Okay.
Whenever I drink coffee in Food Republic, they always save the same consistency type of coffee, which is great for me, because if the coffee is not consistent, then the moment there's sugar, I already will know about it.
Even though it's not a place that is meant to be of a high level service or expectation, but they deliver the kind of service that you will be surprised to receive.
Next time, if I want to shop in BreadTalk, I will feel more assured if there are stuff like that. Yeah.
And when somebody who take pride in their job to serve you, you will feel happier to die there. So yeah.
There used to be this auntie that would serve me teh at one of the toast box near my office. And I remember, I was like heavily pregnant, and she would always smile at me when she gave me my peanut toast. So yeah, that really made my day.
Okay, so I think the video, what it meant was to convey was that to let our staff know that their actions, their simple acts of service, etc., actually goes a long way to making our customers feel different. I think likewise in your own area of work, it should not just be selling software or making money or making more profits. There's a certain value proposition, certain vision that you need to convey. Next, I'll just quickly go on to the branding strategy and efforts. Again, another pyramid. As you can see, I'm very fascinated with pyramids. So I think very often times we get very focused at the hiring and the interview and the selection part. But what we forget is that actually you have to start way ahead about building brand awareness, right? And building brand awareness actually takes a lot of effort and time. I think there's a rule in marketing about this thing about a number 7 rule, which that you have to expose someone 7 times to a brand or a certain concept before they become more receptive to it. And so how do you build their awareness and their attraction before they become interested and then they will funnel down? If you talk to, I think, a lot of laymen, they probably just focus on the hire and the interview part. But you really have to start a lot higher about how you're going to build this awareness of your company. So I think part of the reason why I'm here is also building that awareness, speaking to you. So hopefully after you meet me, you have some awareness of my BreadTalk brand. It made you a bit hungry. Next time you think about wanting to eat dinner, for example, you want to go to Central Embassy for our Din Tai Fung. Yeah, so I'll just quickly skip. I think starting with branding, right? Right now, everybody is on mobile. Everybody is doing digital, etc., etc. A very easy place to start is always with your internet presence. How are you going to strengthen it? I'll just give a very quick example before and after. What are the difference other than the fact that my face is there? We did a lot of work with this. In fact, we asked people about what they know about working in BreadTalk, etc. Our old website didn't really quite say anything. It was really cut to the chase. Just join us, list of jobs, please go and apply. But I think after that, we revamped. I think one of the key things that I want to highlight is that we made it mobile friendly. So if you notice, if it's inside a mobile phone, I think that's pretty critical. The other is that we articulated what is it like to work in BreadTalk so that we are more authentic. And authenticity is the other part that I want to emphasize, is to show people that working in BreadTalk, what is it like? It's very hard to fake things nowadays with social media and all, right? If you are not what it is, which is why going back to the first part, if you are not a good company to begin with, it's very hard to convince other people otherwise. So start with being a good company, and then after that, sell yourself. I'll just quickly skip. I wanted to show you all my company video, but I think I'm running out of time. This is my office, which I'm very proud of. So it gives a flavor of how it's like to work in the office, and some of these things actually does appeal to certain youngsters. So I'll just stop there, running out of time. So if you're interested, watch the rest of the video. I'll send you the link. Okay, so social media is the other part. LinkedIn, Facebook. I think that's where everybody is getting their information on. If you don't tell people what it's like to work in your company, nobody will know. So, so we do a lot of postings. The other parts are about awards, right? When I first joined the company, I used to joke. I think if the awards are given in alphabetical order, then BreadTalk stands a very good chance of getting, because we are start with letter B, ma. So, but I think we have come some way. We have gotten some employer awards. Why the awards are important is because it's an endorsement by a third party. So it just makes it a lot more believable. And wherever we have the opportunity, we'll go for features about how it's like to work in BreadTalk, be it featuring our bakers, giving a glimpse of our international operations, targeting really different kind of employees, how they will adapt to our culture and what we think. And HR systems, yes. When we launched our success factor, we also did a feature on that to say like, how it benefited us, what is our HR strategy. Okay, so right now I come to the last part, which is that to be an employer of choice in HR, my own HR team, our philosophy is that workplace is important, right? You have to have very good workplace environment, safe, nice, conducive. Workforce, we hire the best talent. We attract the best talent to work for us. But all this can't happen if you don't have the third pillar, which is really the high quality HR support, right? So without the high quality HR support, it's very hard to bring together a very good workplace and a very good workforce. And undergirding all this is HR systems. So how does a system like SuccessFactor help us in all this, right? So it provides us with good employee data. Right now, all my country operations are real time on the system. I can, at a glance, my CEOs as well, at a glance, they can know what's the attrition rate, what's their workforce health at any point in time. Our employees benefit because they can do their own transactions now, leave applications, performance appraisal, they can do it on their own, right? It saves a lot of time from HR so that I can leave my HR team to do the proper HR work. I believe nobody signed up to HR to do admin, right? I don't believe so. There are some who really like HR admin, but I think most HR professionals, you do HR because you like to deal with people, right? And sometimes dealing with all these performance appraisal paper forms does just bog you down. I think the other part that the success factor, I always say that it's sometimes the little thing that counts a lot. And one feature that I felt was really good was this thing about the prompts about birthdays, right? So I think to a ground staff or frontline staff, it actually means a lot to them when their manager comes up to them to wish them happy birthday on the day itself. And SuccessFactor gives them that information. It's not actually that they remember, but it appears in their app. It appears when they log in to the SuccessFactor. And I do that too. So each time I come, I see the work anniversary, which are the ones that are coming out, who are the birthdays coming out, and then I make preparations for that. Yeah, but it goes a long way, I think, to the employee to show that they care. And this is how technology really puts the human back into the human resources. So with that, I think I conclude my presentation. So so that's it. And so how will you win it? It's just a conclusion. With Wi-Fi, of course, don't forget the Wi-Fi, but and the other parts as well. Okay, thank you very much.